Hello, good morning, good evening, depending on where you're watching from. Welcome to Rachel's Space. I'm Rachel Ekanyao. Today's topic, my channel is all about talking about womanhood, conception, pregnancy, mom to be, expectant mom, what you're to expect, due date, how to calculate your due date, and all that. So today's topic will be talking about Nagel's rule. Nagel's rule. Nagel's rule is a standard formula in calculating due dates. Nagel's rule is a standard formula in calculating due dates. Now, Nagel's rule is a common method used to estimate a pregnancy's due date. It's calculated by adding 1 year, subtracting 3 months, and then adding 7 days to the first day of the woman's last menstrual period. That is what we call LMP. This method assumes a 28-day menstrual cycle and a 40-week pregnancy. Now, what are we saying? Let me now give you a detailed knowledge of what Nagel's rule is all about. What it means is that, take for instance, okay, I will be using myself as an instance. Before I took in of my son, my first child, my last menstrual date was 9th July 2019. Now, if my last menstrual flow was 9th July 2019, add 1 year to 9th July. That means we are talking about 9th July 2020, right? 9th July 2020. Now subtract 3 months from 9th July 2020. Remember that July is the seventh month in a year. So if you minus 3 months from the seventh month, no, you're minusing July, June, and May. So if you minus 3 from 7, you will have 4, which means you're now having the fourth month, which is April, right? Now, you now have April. Now, add 7 days to the month. Like, what am I saying? My last menses before I had my son was 9th July 2019, and I had my son April 16th. Now, if we are using a Nagel's rule, it simply means that from that July 2019 plus another July 2020 is 1 year, right? And then you minus 3 months from 1 year, which means if you minus 3 months from July, you will have April, isn't it so? Now, mind you that my last menses was 9th July. Now, add 7 days to that. Add 7 days to that last menstrual period. Remember earlier when I was introducing Nagel's rule, I said it is called last menstrual period, LMP. Now, if you add 7 days to the last date where I saw my menses before I took in, I told you it was 9th July. So if I add 7 days to 9th July, I will be having 16th, right? And I had my son exactly 16th April 2020. Ta-da! No, it's not magic. It's just actually having time to go through and listen to how your body works. Before I had my son, ultrascan. This rule, mind you, please, this rule can only work for you if you know the exact date you start your menses. This rule can only work for you if you know the exact date you start your menses. For some persons, they don't always know the date for their menses. Please, if you are among such people, try and have ovulation or menstruation checker, where you enter the date of your menstrual flow. It just keep records for you. So in case you're confused, you just consult your app, the menstrual app that checks the ovulation checker. It has various names. So when you just check it, it tells you, okay, this was the last date of your menses that you locked in, and then from there you picked. So if you know you're good at, oh, I know the last day my menses came out and before I became pregnant, the Nagel's rule is for you. It is very accurate and it really works. Trace back from why while I was saying it, remember I told you that my last menses in 2019 was 9th July. That was when I came back from camp from 9th July. And then I noticed I was pregnant in August 28, 2019. And then remember that Neger's rule means adding 1 year to your last menstrual flow. So if you add 1 year to 9th July of 2019, you know that 9th July of 2020 is 1 year, isn't it so? So when you now add, and then when you now subtract 3 months, 3 months from July, you will have April, isn't it so? And then when you now add 7 days in the 3 months, you will now have, to, if I add 7 days to 9th, I will have 16, isn't it so? And my son's birthday is 16th April. Isn't this wonderful? Those are just those simple tricks. I want you all to understand as a mom that these things are not difficult. These are things you can track. You don't need to be a scientist. You don't need to be medical inclined to know these things. Just follow these simple tricks and tips, and then it will really help you on how to know the detailed way to know how your body works, how this pregnancy thing starts. Embrace it, love it, and you see that you begin to understand every stage that follows with this pregnancy. Now, another thing is I'm going to teach you how to calculate pregnancy. Now, you remember that when you're pregnant and you go for antenatal or go for your scan, when they check your gestational period, remember gestation is the time of conception. When they check the gestational period, let's say if the gestational period is at that time, that's the level where the pregnancy is 12 weeks, your scan will have your record, or your antenatal card will have 12 weeks. Then in a detailed form or in scan, you will see 12 weeks 0, 12 weeks 1, 12 weeks 2, 12 weeks 3, 12 weeks 5, 6, 10, and so on and so forth, which simply means that your pregnancy is 12 weeks 0 means that that pregnancy is 12 weeks as at the time you came to check for the scan or the size or whatever thing that brought you to check for it. And then if you have 12 weeks 1 means the pregnancy is 12 weeks and 1 day. 12 weeks 2 is 12 weeks and 2 days. 12 weeks and 3 days. 12 weeks and 4 days. 12 weeks and 5 days. 12 weeks and 6 days. 12 weeks and 7 days. 12 weeks and 8 days, 9 days, and so on and so forth. Now, another thing you should also get to know is that in medicals, we don't really count pregnancies in months, they count in weeks. And oftentimes it's very confusing for expectant moms, especially first time mommies. I was actually struggling my way around to understand those weeks, because all I know is, Rachel, how far gone are you? I'll say my pregnancy is 2 months, my pregnancy is 5 months, my pregnancy is 6 months. You understand? And if you begin to count based on months, you began to, get worried that, oh, my pregnancy has overstayed. I'm supposed to have had my baby since 3 weeks ago that they told me I'm now 9 months, I'm still carrying this pregnancy. Now, relax, my dear. First time mommies, this video is for you. It doesn't always work this way. Remember that when I did my previous video, I said that when you take in or when you find out that you're pregnant, that your health provider start counting the last date of your menses as 1 month. Isn't it so? What do I mean? What I meant is that if you saw your last menses in May, let's say in May 10th, and this is June, and then in June you've gone for your pregnancy test and you're in June 10th or 12th or 15th. Now, what they will ask you is, what was your last day, your last menstrual period? That is your LMP. And then you will say that my LMP is May 10th. Now, when they are writing for you, they tell you that you are 4 weeks and 2 days gone. Right? So the whole of that May, starting from the beginning of that May and starting from when you saw your menses, they've counted it for you on as 1 month. The reason is because within in that May 10th where you saw your menses, remember ovulation is within that 14 days, right? So let's say you saw your menses on the 10th of May, then um, you have 17th of May, ovulation have started, isn't it so? And within that time ovulation started, nobody actually can tell exactly when this implantation started. That is why they add extra 2 weeks to that May. Now, if you add 2 weeks to that May, that is to tell you that this implantation might have happened within the month of May, or it extended within the month of June. That is now why they have that plus or minus 2 weeks that just gather the whole thing to give you 1 month. Now, as the pregnancy, progresses, you began to get week 1, week 2, week 3. Now remember that 1 month, our 1 month in pregnancy ranges from week 1 to week 6. From 1 week to 6 weeks is what we'll call 1 month in medical terms, 1 month in pregnancy. Because remember, it's 4 weeks in a month, right? 4 weeks in a month. And then that 2 weeks, don't forget the 2 weeks I mentioned earlier that was in between your ovulation and all that, which is the 2 weeks of implantation that nobody actually knew when the implantation happens. That is now the 2 weeks that makes it 1 month. So what your health provider actually counts is that from week 1 to week 6 is 1 month. Now, remember that from week now from week 7 to week 10 is considered 2 months. Now from weeks week 10 is considered 2 months, which means in actual sense, in actual counting, your two months should be 8 weeks, isn't it so? But in this condition right now, your 2 months is from 8 weeks to 10 weeks will count as 2 months. Now your 3 months will now start from that 10 weeks from your 11th week. Remember, in normal calculation, if you count 4 times 3 is 12, which is the actual 3 months in weeks, isn't it so? But in this situation right now, it's now your 3 months is now from week 11 from 11 week to 16 week instead of 12 week. From 11 week to 14, 16 week is what we call 3 months. I don't know if you're understanding the stages. Just take a gradual process and count with me. Take a gradual process and count with me. You will understand what I'm saying. Now, then you begin to have from, if you just follow that due process of the, now 16 weeks is 3 months. Now from 17th week to 20 weeks to 21 weeks to 22 weeks is 4 months. Now, do you now understand that when you actually tell someone, "Oh, Rachel, how far gone are you?" And then you say, 3 months. Now, your sisters, your relative, your husband would then begin to count it. Oh, Rachel said her pregnancy this month is 3 months. That means she will be due in 3 months' time or in 6 months' time. And when that 6 months comes, they've not heard that you've given birth. They will be like, I told you said you were 3 months or time, or you were 6 months or time. You're supposed to be due. Not knowing that these are just natural. The body is following the due counting. And remember, if you're counting in days, the full time of pregnancy is 280 days. It's such a long day. It's approximately 1 year. Honestly, it's approximately 1 year. So 280 days is complete 40 weeks. For some reasons, you can get 283 days or 285 days, right? Now, let me give you an instance. When I was pregnant of my first baby, I should I say, because I was a first time mom, I was just lazy. I wasn't doing any form of exercise. And then, coupled with it was the COVID-19, that pandemic period, and then I was serving as well, and I was pregnant. So I was always sleeping, no form of exercise. I just want to sleep, eat, sleep, eat, sleep. And then at the time, my mom became worried and will call my husband on phone and said, your wife is sleeping too much, help her to do some form of exercises. And my husband doesn't want to stress me, so one morning he just got angry and say, "You've been sleeping too much, oh yeah, stand up, let's go for an exercise." And I started crying. Oh god, I was such a baby as a first time mom, and I started crying that he was shouting too much. Why was he going to, why was he, it's like, is that, do you think it's easy to have a watermelon on your tummy? And he didn't listen, and then he forced me to go do some step climbing. So I was tired. I had to climb from step, from up down, and that period, I slept for 1 week to recover from that exercise that I did. And then my mother-in-law will call me, "Rachel, have you seen your show? Have you seen your," I don't know what show was. And she'll be like, I'll be like, "Mommy, what is show?" They'll be like, "Something that mucus like something." I'll be like, "How?" He said, "That looks like Qatar. Anytime you see it, let me know." Because my mom was not with us in the same city. She was very far away. And as God may have it, I had a wonderful, and I still have a very wonderful mother-in-law who was doing all my mommy's duty for me. So I'll be like, "Mommy, I've nothing." So for some persons, they don't see their show. The time they see their show might end up being when labor is even already there. I didn't see my show. And then when I went that day, I remember I was at home sleeping, and my co-wife came, Amara Ekanya, or Amara Chukweke. That is her father's name, Chukweke. And then she came that day and said, "Babe, carry your bag," because that day I was already on my due dates. The day she came was on the 15th, which was our antenatal days. That was on Wednesday. And she was like, oh yeah, carry your bag, let's go. This baby is over relaxing. I'll be like, really? And then she drove. I gave her the car key and then she drove and went to the hospital. And when we went to the hospital, we went to see my doctor. My doctor checked me and said I was like, yeah, that I'm open for the induction, for them to induce me. It was like, okay, fine, you're ripe, your cervix is ripe, everything is ready. Why not? We can induce you. And that was how I got admitted with my bags ready. And then my husband started calling my parents, my siblings that I've been admitted. It's like I'm going to go into labor anytime. And just when they gave me room for me to go and change, it was not that evening I saw that almighty show mommy has been asking me about. So when that happened, I got induced that night, that early morning, and as God may have it, everything went well, and my big boy came out, and I had him exactly the due date